Hello, this is Nima Goldby on KUCI 88.9 Irvine. I'm here with a guest here, a special guest that I last had on, I think, like 2 quarters ago, we did RoboCop.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Nima was off for a quarter, the last quarter, and I just haven't been on a show in a bit. He's come on my show too. I'm Ari. I've been friends with Nima since we were like little kids, like at least age of 3 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. We moved states together and everything. And then I started KUCI, and then he followed me along. He coattailed. No, it wasn't like that. Literally, he just told me one day, like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing the training." I'm like, "What? Okay, that's fun." And then I was like, "You better not steal my show."
So what do you talk about on your two shows?
Oh yeah, I have 2 shows now. Well, I only talk really about stuff on my first one, the one that I've been on the air for about 3 years. I do a Friday talk show at 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's called Bass Tunes, and we review music, movies, games, pop culture, anything really, but media mostly. And starting this quarter, I have a very late night, early morning music show called Bass Tunes After Dark because it's a safe harbor spot. I can play music that has a lot of cussing in it. Not a lot, but a good bit of it. A lot. And you can hear that Sundays at 2 to 4 a.m. Pacific time. And both shows are, uh, you know, have an Instagram, and they're both on the same one. And that's BASEDTUNESKCI on Instagram.
What
Thank you.
kind of words do we expect in these songs with cussing?
Words that if I say on air and you don't censor, you will get some bad looks if Liv is here at 8 in the morning. Is she here at the station when you
She's
come in?
literally in the other room.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying when you come to your show at 8 in the morning, is she here?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But it's like every time I come to the station, I see her bike out, and I'm like, man, she's here like every single second of every single day. No wonder why she got like an actual better position because she needed to. I think Kevin was literally like, you need to get paid more to be here. Like we need to pay you, so we need to pay you to be here.
So before we get into the topic of our show today, I need to ask, have you seen the Minecraft movie?
No, I haven't. Not yet. I was gonna go with somebody this week, but I guess they went to go see it. I don't know when I'm going to see it. I need to watch it with people. I'm not going by myself to watch that movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I went with Sophia and Arsam.
Oh my god, you should have told me
Yeah,
about that.
we
I
should
would
have
have
brought you actually.
Yeah, what? Why didn't you invite me?
Yeah, we should have. Well, because Sophia initiated. So,
Well, whatever.
but yeah, in
I
retrospect,
could pick her up and snap her if she wants
you
to.
would have been good.
I would have had. Was it like a really rowdy theater?
Not compared to the ones you see, but it was like they were breaking into applause, and when the
Aw,
chicken jockey
oh
happened.
man, because the person that I knew who told me that she saw it, she was like, it was a really dead theater. I think also, it's funny. So she lives like maybe like I don't know 10 something miles north, and there's this one specific theater that she likes to go to. It's AMC, dude. $30 for the Minecraft movie, according to her. $30. So she went to another theater, like a week later. That was like $9 because I'm not spending $30 to see the Minecraft movie. That's just not happening. A movie theater ticket was $10, then $12, and now I expect it to be around $16 to $20. That is the average price for a movie theater ticket in our area. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's about what I paid.
That's about accurate, right? Well, you go see it at Regal?
It was a Kaleidoscope Regal, I think.
That theater sucks. I'm not a fan of that one.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Aren't the seats kind of bad? Like, do they not
No.
have recliners still, or
No,
are they?
it does.
Oh, because the last time I went to that theater was.
They probably updated it since you last went, but
Oh yeah, that was back in like 2023. I saw the FNAF movie, and um, I saw Across the Spider-Verse. Those are the 2 movies I saw in that theater, and they're both. Well, FNAF movie wasn't good, but it was fun. But Across the Spider-Verse was good. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that theater personally.
But anyway,
Yeah.
in terms of the Minecraft movie, it was really interesting because the movie itself is not good, but
Yeah, of course.
the experience is actually really fun.
Yeah, that's what I've gotten, and I really hope that since it's been like a week since it's out, I hope that when I go, it's gonna be more fun and like over the top. Because part of me feels like I'm gonna miss out on that first run of it. Now I've seen movies like that where there's a really interactive audience. Have you
Yeah.
seen The Room? the Tommy Wiseau film? We've discussed this, right? Have we?
Well, no, I haven't seen The Room, but we did see The Disaster Artist together.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Well, if you know about the Frida Cinema, it's a independent sort of art house cinema in Santa Ana downtown. Really good place. They show all kinds of cool movies, and you'd probably love it. Every so often they do a screening of The Room, and this time they had Greg Sestero from The Disaster. Well, not from The Disaster Artist, the guy who plays Mark in the film. He actually showed up and he gave some talks and did some live commentary. And then when it got to the sex scenes, he got up and left, and that was sort of his bit, because then I went back to I went to use the bathroom, and he was, because I left too at some point because I needed to pee, and he was just sitting there outside. And I was gonna chat with him, but I was like, whatever. He was chatting with the store owners. But what I'm saying is, like, that movie has a super interactive experience. People will shout at the screen. People will throw spoons multiple times. They bring bags of plastic spoons and throw them at the screen every time that there's a frame photo of spoons, because for some reason the set designer put a bunch of frame photos of plastic spoons around the house of the set. So I literally had to shield the person I was watching it with from all those spoons. It was pretty fun. And I had fun with that because I would love to talk during movies like most of the time, but I learned etiquette and not to do that. But The Room gave me the opportunity to. And the thing is, I feel like the Minecraft movie would similarly give me that opportunity.
Yep.
Although yeah. From what I can tell, though, like, it was fun. Like, the movie itself was fun enough. Like, it was a dumb movie. And see, my thought on it is this, and we can run this back once I actually go and see it and give you my thoughts on it. But dude, I didn't even think it was actually going to come out. I thought it was going to be in like development hell purgatory because I think they announced the fact they were doing a movie like 10 years ago or something like that, and then different director switch or something like that. And then maybe a couple years ago, there's some news articles saying, oh, they're doing it with like Jack Black and stuff. And I'm like, what? And then the trailer comes out, and I see like a little clip of it, but I don't really pay much attention. I'm like, wait, no, this is real? This is real? Because it looks so. Is there like any action scenes or anything?
Yeah. So there is action, and I want to say what you said about like talking during the movie. When it's like a movie that everyone like knows isn't too good and like really shallow, like you just talk through the whole thing. Me and Arsam, I was just whispering things in his ear, and he was like whispering things back to me, and we were just laughing the whole time. And then you had those moments where people broke out into applause every once in a while, which was like,
that was fun, right?
Yeah. And I'd say another thing about the Minecraft movie, it improves like days after, because you just remember like the laughs of like how people react.
It's a fun experience, and like that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss sometimes about cinema. And I'm not a huge movie guy, just letting you guys know, but cinema is just like there's sort of like a communal experience in watching something with a lot of people. Same with a concert, same with anything like that.
Remember when we saw Joker together?
Oh yeah, that was fun. I like that movie.
That was a communal experience when he's going on the Murray Franklin show.
Oh yeah.
And the whole audience knows like something's about to happen.
Yeah, that was real tense. And my dad was just. It's funny because I think I mentioned this on one of our shows before, but we went with my dad, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we did.
And I asked my dad after, hey, what'd you think of the film? And he's like, I wasn't paying attention. I was like, why? Why did you fall asleep? He's like, no, I was like just super scared that someone would shoot the theater. Because like all those rumors that someone would like shoot the theater up or something like that, clown attacks or whatever. Right. That was around the time. And then I'm pretty sure I watched it a second time in theaters, and I asked my dad, and he said the same thing. And then like during the pandemic, I come downstairs in his room, and he's watching Joker, and I'm like, hey, what'd you think about it? He's like, oh, it's pretty good, actually. He just never saw it. Did you see the sequel? I didn't.
No, I don't like to like ruin things that I love. Like when I know that a sequel comes out to a movie I love that is really bad.
Yeah, it seems like it's horrible, and that one they had Joaquin Phoenix do the singing himself, and he's not a good singer, which is fine. It's accurate, but it's like, and I think that the whole point of the whole thing that people didn't like about the film was that it was kind of cynical in the way that it mocked the viewer, the audience who enjoyed the first movie.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
It like disrespects the viewer, and I'm gonna let you. We have an actual topic, but it kind of reminded me a little bit, and not too much, but I remember when I never played it, but The Last of Us Part 2, that game,
Right.
when that came out, it was so controversial because of like the big plot twist and the character, and obviously it goes into, oh, it's woke. Oh, the woman is buff. Woman can't be buff. Which, oh, she looks like a dude. I'm like, have you ever seen like a toned woman? Like, bro, they exist. I don't know if you don't go outside, but no. The other thing aside from the plot was that it kind of like, it kind of like made you feel bad for identifying with these characters. Sort of, it made you feel bad for being invested. Like, it was obviously like a way of the writer talking and commenting on the audience, but if you don't do it in the right way, it kind of just feels like you're being disrespected for your time. And I'm not saying Last of Us Part 2 necessarily did that.
Yeah.
It was a ballsy, risky move for a story of a game.
I don't know much about The Last of Us Part 2, but I can tell you with modern Hollywood, they do go down the deconstructing route way too much, and oftentimes it's just like, it's A, lazy, and B, almost never works. They did it with Luke Skywalker famously, really backfired.
What, in the new trilogy?
And like the sequel trilogy,
Yeah.
and they rewrote loads of stuff that like undid character arcs from 1 through 6 purposely to like replace the characters. But I was gonna say one thing.
Yeah, Nima hates the sequel trilogy with a passion. Which y'all should know this by now.
I forgot what you were saying about. It was like the Joker, and I had a point.
Was it Joker Part 2 or?
Yeah. One thing that I always remembered about that is Todd Phillips himself said after the movie was made, like, "Oh, this movie doesn't need a sequel," and
yeah,
I don't like when a movie doesn't need a sequel and they just make a sequel for money. It's just not right. That movie, it's so good because of how it ends, and it's like ambiguous. I like that. You don't need to explain everything. Like,
it's again like there's interesting ideas. Like, I haven't seen it, so I just want to remember the plot. Like the Joker being on trial and stuff. Like, that seems like a fun time, and it becomes like a sort of like court of public opinion sort of thing. And you could really turn that into a lot of social commentary with a lot of stuff that could be happening nowadays. But it's like, yeah, it didn't need a sequel, and I am glad just for creativity's sake that Todd Phillips decided to try to go in a totally different direction and make it a musical. Like, if you're going to make a sequel, you might as well just like throw something at the wall and just have fun with it. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now, sequel-wise, I don't think we can say the same thing about our actual topic of today's show, right? Harry Potter?
Yeah, so I'll just give some context.
Sure, buddy.
We both have read all 7 books.
Yes.
You've probably read it. Have you read it more than once?
I have read them all more than once.
Yeah, I've read it twice as well. I did it in middle school. Then I first watched the movies, and then since I watched and read the books, I have rewatched the movies many times. But however, I hadn't seen them in 4 years, and
you went and rewatched them recently?
Yeah, like a week and a half ago I started. I rewatched 1 through 8, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I always appreciated the films. But one thing about movies and maybe life in general, when it's sort of like you don't know what you have until it's gone, and sort of when you haven't seen a really good series or movie for many years, just the fact that like you're losing recency, like you kind of forget how good something is.
Yeah, it's like you're reminded of what you liked it in the first place, right?
Yeah, and then so I watched this, and I sort of have so many good things to say about it, especially with the ones that I feel aren't nearly as good as the ones that came later. Like, for instance, Sorcerer's Stone, I would say.
I like that one.
I do, but obviously it's the most simple, basic story, but I think there's so much good that was done in terms of the filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like setting the tone, getting the sets right, not over-relying on CGI where they didn't have to. Things like using a model for Hogwarts and using real sets.
Lots of money.
The cast is really good.
Yeah, they struck gold with the cast. I don't know how they could have done that. And especially for them to like continue to age and like improve and change as actors. Right. That's the really interesting thing. It's like, you know, a lot of movies with kids and stuff, you know, they get older and they go through puberty and stuff, and you either have to recast them if you want to do the same series, but they wanted to literally follow them from beginning to end, and it's like they really scheduled it like crazy. They didn't really take many breaks.
Yep.
They just went straight on, and then by the end, they're basically adults. Maybe they were probably older than 18 by the time it was over. I actually don't recall, but they were fairly young when it started.
Yeah.
And it's interesting just watching them all like grow and mature, because you sort of see that in the books, as of course, they start off as like 10, 11-year-olds, and they get up to being I think like 17 is when they're supposed to graduate Hogwarts or whatever. But yeah. And thinking about the books nowadays, I can see some flaws in it, but especially some of like the stereotypes depicted. But like, I still love those books. Like, those were my childhood. And something I want to highlight is the way is. Do you feel like there's a difference in consistency in terms of tone and style between the 8 films?
I would definitely say there is, but I would say, like, for certain movies, it does go too far in the dark direction.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying bad or good. I'm just asking your thoughts because I have
Yeah.
a point on this.
I would say definitely there is a tone shift in, like, the third and the fourth movie. That's because the third movie is a more dark story, and then the fourth movie is when Voldemort comes back, and the story is supposed to shift into a more serious tone.
Yeah, I didn't think that I thought that the fourth one is when it really like started going off the deep end in terms of like going more mature, dark, whatever. And that's when the books also we go from like 400 pages to 700. Those are really long books for kids. Like, I was in like 6th grade trying to get through Order of the Phoenix, and that book's like 800 pages long.
That one's probably a little too long.
Yeah, I liked Order of the Phoenix more than it's funny because when you might ask, what's your least favorite Harry Potter book, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe the 6th book.
Really? That's like
But I can't,
one of my favorites. I really love that.
or maybe book 2. I don't know personally, because to me, when I was a kid, when Harry's like, I like Jen A. I know it's not like that. And once I read it and like watched it recently, I was like, oh, this makes a little more sense. But obviously, you're a kid, you're like, he should be with Hermione. But obviously, it's like, he's like, well, I always planned this to be the case.
Well,
or not. Well, I don't know. I was talking like Voldemort, the Ralph Fiennes, or whatever.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, I knew that you were going to be with Ginny. No, but I don't know. To me, for what I remember, Half-Blood Prince to me felt like the story wasn't progressing to the same pace. I think it was because it sort of went back to the whole Hogwarts thing. Like, it tried to go back a little bit to them being in school, and also, all the crazy stuff about to happen. Like, Order of the Phoenix is when, like, it really starts to get really deep into the lore, and it really starts to get deep into the backstory.
This is true.
And then he's getting pulled out of school more, and, the Secret Order and hiding or whatever. And, of course, book 7 is... It took me a bit to get really, like, into Deathly Hallows as a book, just because of like how different it was in terms of like, well, the structure is all gone. Like, they're in terms of like because the whole thing is, and I saw this on YouTube, and I really think it's the case, is that Harry Potter books aren't fantasy books; they're mysteries to an extent. Because
she very much likes the mystery angle,
especially in the first few, because the first few books were very structured in the sense of the mystery, the red herring, the clue, and the twist. And it was an interesting way to engage the reader. There was some sort of MacGuffin, right? Obviously, the first book, which I still think might be my favorite book, just because of the way it introduces everything. Once you really get into it, it can be a little complicated.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was going to say, directors-wise, is that's how it started, and that's how the first couple movies feel that way. It's because of the director. I don't know I assume you know this, that the films had multiple directors, right?
Yes, of course.
And Chris Columbus was the most like the most, shall we say, big budget, like sort of like big cheap family film, whatever. But I don't think it was bad at all, because what Chris Columbus did, especially for the first film, I don't remember Chamber of Secrets as well, is that he was able to really show off the whimsy of the whole experience, especially in the early stages of the storyline, where it is a little bit more happy and it's a little more whimsy. It's like, wow, look at all this cool stuff, not like, oh, what Wizard Hitler's coming and he's going to Harry Potter, whatever. And obviously, the pacing of the film, it's like there isn't as much, there's more time to breathe because of how much stuff.
100%.
Because once you get to like Goblet of Fire, they really start chopping stuff out from the books. Like, I remember when I first saw the film, it was actually with you guys. We were in like Palm Springs or something like that. I remember it was on the TV, and I sat down and watched the Goblet of Fire, and then I was like, oh, the Quidditch Wizard Cup. quick
Yeah,
montage it skips over.
of course.
And I complained about that, but then I thought about it. Well, then when I watched it again, I was like, well, honestly, if you had to cut something out, maybe cut that out, but maybe show a little more. I liked it because what that did in the book to me, although it went a little long, was world building. It was a little bit more of like world building of like the wider world. But then of course everything starts going, to crap, and then the real plot starts.
So, I'm doing like a movie by movie review on my channel of all 8 Harry Potter films, and I do mention that like Chris Columbus deserves a lot of credit for his like vision of bringing this world together and like setting the tone, like making you feel like this could possibly be a real thing.
Yeah.
And then also what you say about like how on the fourth movie they start cutting stuff out. I would say that in general they're like logical cuts until I would say the 6th movie takes out way too much stuff.
What did it take out again? I don't think I finished Half-Blood Prince.
Okay, so here's my stance on Half-Blood Prince. The last like 40 minutes of the film where Dumbledore dies and like they go to the cave.
Oh yeah, the big battle.
Really, really, really strong. But the first like hour and a half of the movie is incredibly slow, and
yeah, that's why people aren't as big of a fan of it.
Yeah, and they like cut out loads of stuff that they really should have put in, like Dumbledore like going to find the ring and stuff like that.
Was that with Harry and he had to drink the water?
That's the cave at the end.
Okay.
But in the book, it tells you a bunch of stuff Dumbledore's doing on his own, but in the movies, it's
and you see how his like hands all like wrinkled and like all rotted and stuff.
In the movies, they just say like, "Oh, Dumbledore's traveling," and then at the end of the movie, it becomes clear this ring Dumbledore has is a Horcrux. But they should have like shown it, and that would have made the movie progress.
Because that was interesting. Like I think if I remember, it's been a long time. I didn't really prepare for this, but in the book where Dumbledore come back and he was pretty secretive about what Harry was doing. And he's like, "Well, do you want to come with me and do this?" And like help him. Harry feels like he has more agency helping Dumbledore, but it's like some really twisted stuff. And then of course, and also like I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's how I felt. That there was like a lot of interesting like addendum stuff in the book Half-Blood Prince. Like there's a lot of interesting little plots and little details about it that if they cut those out in the movie, it would be good. How is Slughorn's character? I always liked Slughorn in the books. I liked him. He was fun.
I really like his character in the 6th movie.
I think I remember his actor being pretty fun. Like he did a good job.
He's like quirky and kind of I would say he's like complex in that he's done something bad, but it's also like not his fault.
Yeah, he's a bit of an opportunist, but he's a bit of a night. But he seems like a generally decent person at heart.
Yeah, and his like shame is justified.
Yeah.
And then he sort of like overcomes. It's sort of like a mini redemption arc.
Yeah.
He like overcomes his fear and does the right thing.
Was there the scene I think I remember the scene in the Half-Blood Prince in the movie where Slughorn takes like the Harry and them to like you're some of my most esteemed students, and there's a function. Was there like a fight between like him and Malfoy in that, or like Harry and Malfoy? Did something like that happen, or at like that gathering, or there was some sort of issue, right? Some sort of conflict, right? Or is this a random scene?
There's a scene at the ball.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Malfoy isn't at it, but Filch catches Malfoy lurking around the corridors, and then Snape like vouches for Malfoy, and then Harry trails them and overhears Snape talking that he made the unbreakable vow to like protect him. Was he like super? Was that? Because I remember the other thing I liked about Half-Blood Prince was like when Malfoy first started out, he was all confident about it, but then he was like really like broken down by the end of it, and like it's like you can hear him in the bathroom crying and stuff. Like he went way too far on because his dad's a Death Eater and stuff. Was Bellatrix in the 6th movie or no? Was that Yeah.
Oh, Bellatrix is great, dude. Oh my god,
she's a really talented actress.
She low-key bad. Nah, I'm playing. Helena Bottom Farter, dude. That was great. That's from Impractical Jokers. It was like they have this name game thing, and also shout out to Impractical Jokers. Joe Gatto, you a hoe. Murray, you also not good. They both have like allegations about like maybe underage fans, unfortunately, bro. Right after I got into the movies, right after I finished the show, but like they do like this name game thing where they sit where they're on like a waiting room desk and they call out made up names. One of them was Helena Bottom Farter. Yeah, because it's Helena Bottom Carter. That's my name. That's my character name on Path of Exile 2. And I'm better than Elon at Path of Exile 2. I ain't got to pay nobody to play my game.
No idea what that is.
Oh, it's like do you know Diablo?
Yeah.
It's like that, but like more hardcore.
Okay. So
And
it's
it's
like an MMO.
No, no, not at all. It's an action. It's an ARPG, like a hack and slash.
Okay.
Diablo 4 kind of has MMO elements, but MMO's like Destiny 2 and like World of Warcraft. Anyways,
Okay.
I was gonna talk about this. The reason why I started watching the movies again, and this is back in like 2023. I watched because I was watching a video about it, and it was Prisoner of Azkaban, and everybody was talking so good about that film specifically as a singular entity. I agreed when I watched it. It's because the director. Do you mind pulling it up? Who the director was?
I'm glad you brought this up because in my review I make the point that Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah, Alfonso Cuarón. Yeah.
Should have directed like a few more films because without a doubt he's the most. He did the best job. The use of like music transitions specifically,
and the way that it was like dark. Also, like even like the color grading and stuff was good.
Yeah, it
like,
looked really, really.
It was
really
the most
good.
cinematic in a good way. It was like that's when I feel like that film really elevated the cinematography and all of that, because I think Chris Columbus as a director did the best, and he was also really good with the kids apparently. So that's important. Like apparently the kids like he was very good with working with children, and that's the most important thing. Wait, see what he did. Click on it.
Cuarón did another really good movie. It's called Children of Men that I really enjoy. But I would say honestly,
he did some like pretty dark movies basically, right?
Gravity.
Like he did some pretty gritty.
Yeah.
He did some pretty gritty like some sort of Latin American. I forgot what country he's from. I don't think he's
probably Mexico.
I don't remember if it was Mexico or not.
Yeah, he's Mexican. But yeah, he does do dark movies. Children of Men is basically about a world where the fertility rate is like 0, and
man,
the last baby that was born 15 years ago, and then when that baby dies, like the world loses hope.
Yeah, so I think it was an interesting choice to go with him, like this sort of like art house, a little more art house, a little bit less like big mainstream guy who did just like this really gritty Spanish film to direct the Harry Potter film. Like that was crazy, but actually did a really good job. And I think he did a really good job at balancing the tone between the whimsy and the dark, and I think that's really important for Harry Potter.
Yes.
But I think like I would probably say, and I'll have to think about it again, I think Prisoner of Azkaban is probably my favorite movie out of all of them in terms of like as a standalone experience. Maybe it's because I was gassed up so much by it, but I remember I never watched it as a kid, and when I watched it I was like, wow, because I didn't really. It's funny because part of me thinks, I never really liked Prisoner of Azkaban as a book. People don't like it as much, but I actually really did like that book. Now that I think about it, like it was, I don't know if I liked it as a whole as much as in terms of like the overall experience, but Lupin was such a good character.
Yeah, the film works like really well on multiple levels. Of course, there's the direction aspect, which is like nailed, and they really like brought a top tier director to it. And then also I noticed that like the performances from the characters are sort of very powerful in that film. And then the story where it's like there's this anxiety about Sirius Black the whole time, and then of course there's like the twist and reveal. We talked about the mystery.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Going back in time and like fixing some things, and then the film ends with basically this idea that like Sirius is Harry's hope for a normal life, kind of like the father.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, he's like a father figure.
Yeah, and it also, what you said about balancing the light and the dark, this is sort of the film where it is on the teetering edge of...
That's where the book was too. It's starting to revere into that darker territory and more complex, and then of course Goblet of Fire just kind of goes off the rails. And the movie, the more I think about it, I don't know if it's funny because like reviewing seeing what other people thought of Goblet of Fire, they were fairly negative on it, and I watched it and I was like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I'm like, it's not as bad as I thought, but there were some like odd character choices. But
so I recommend you watch 1 through 8. I personally like Goblet of Fire a lot. It's actually my third favorite. My top 3 is Deathly Hallows Part 2, then Prisoner of Azkaban, then Goblet of Fire. What I really like about Goblet of Fire is the structure and the pace are really good. The direction is still good, but much worse than number 3.
I think if I recall correctly, Goblet of Fire was a one-off director.
Yeah.
And he kind of didn't do an amazing job comparatively. Like he
Yeah.
did the best he could with what the circumstances, but he didn't do as good as he could have. But then like Order of Phoenix was Mike Newell,
Yeah, Mike Newell's a one-off. He did Goblet of Fire, and then number 5 switched to David Yates.
and then that he stayed,
Mhm.
and then see that I'm glad they did that because they really needed at some point to get a guy to stay with the whole
Yeah.
thing. I would have been fine if Alfonso doing the whole thing, but
Yep.
honestly, it's like it's kind of good that he was able to. Part of me wonders like would the consistency have stayed the same. You know what's funny about that? A similar sort of outside the box Latin American, Hispanic, whatever you want to. Pardon my language. I just don't recall who this director I'm talking about is. Was the director for the RoboCop remake in 2014, and the reason why I'm saying that is because similarly, he was a sort of outsider, off kilter kind of director who got some underground buzz, and was able to get
Jose Padilla.
Jose Padilla, and unlike because if you look at it, it's like Elite Squad, this really dark, gritty.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I mean, they both had this shot at doing this really big movie. Jose apparently, I don't blame him. Apparently, just real quick, I think I've talked about this on the show before, that he's like basically for every one idea I had, the studio for every one idea that was accepted, the studio rejected like 10.
Yeah.
Like a lot of studio overreach and also PG-13 for RoboCop. Like he could have done better, but like he had this both some like gritty Spanish filmmaking was really interesting to me. Like they both had that, and they both did like these sort of bigger properties. But of course, Alfonso, is it Alfonso or Alfonso? Or is
Alfonso.
it Alfonso? Sorry, Alfonso had the luxury of being given a little bit more free reign, but also like I don't know. I always be surprised that he knew how to like sort of keep it PG. Was it PG or was that one PG-13? I think that one's PG, right?
That's a good question.
Prisoner of Azkaban, because didn't Goblet of Fire move to PG-13?
Yeah,
It's real dark and evil.
I'm quite sure that one would be. So let me see.
You can literally just click on the. You can just go on the IMDb page. It shows on the movie.
Wait, where does it show?
Just click on Prisoner of Azkaban. See right next to the release date. Just go to Prisoner of Azkaban. Click on it. PG. I was right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did the movies get longer as time went on, or no? Were they all around like 2 hours?
So most of them are about 2.5. Although I do really like Chamber of Secrets, and people criticize it a lot, but I do admit it's probably about 15 minutes too long. That one's 2 and 45 minutes.
That's way too long for Chamber of Secrets. It's not that. That was not that. I remember that too. That book does not need that much time. How long was Prisoner of Azkaban? Go back to Prisoner of Azkaban.
I believe it's 220. It's sort of perfect.
That's it. See, I still think that's the perfect movie out of all of them. At least just like for maybe not for like the kids or whatever, but like for me admiring it, like for me just watching it as an adult. And it's funny because I started Prisoner of Azkaban, and then I got to like 6, and I stopped, and then I watched the Fantastic Beasts films. I watched it, and I liked the Fantastic Beasts films, at least the first one.
Yeah.
I remember watching the second one, right?
And I never did. I only watched the first.
Well, you probably didn't miss much, because the third one was kind of a retcon of the second. It was kind of like a retread, like a we need to redo this kind of.
Problem I have with Fantastic Beasts is it doesn't even feel like a Harry Potter movie.
I kind of like that. I like that it's kind of doing its own thing. I just wish that like, I don't know, some of the whimsy and some of like it felt like the first movie was really good and the second one wasn't. Like, I don't know, something about it was just weird. But it's funny because I remember watching, I was like, man, I don't love that. What do people think about it? And I looked it up, and it was like a 30% on on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, it wasn't that bad.
The reason I didn't see it is because people hated it, and I didn't like the first one enough to care. Like, I thought the first one was good, but
I liked the first one personally.
It was just like, it's not worth seeing. That's what it is.
Well, I really think it could have been better. I think J.K. didn't she direct that one herself too?
No, she just like wrote it.
Oh, she wrote it. That's the problem. And then the third film, they actually got someone else to help her write it because I think she realized I'm not a screenwriter.
Yeah.
She's not a screenwriter. I don't care who she's. J.K. Rowling's an interesting writer. I don't know if she's the greatest writer in the world now that I think about it. I think history over time is like shown her writing can be a little flawed, but it's interesting.
Well, my opinion is her books are very fun to read. I do know people criticize her use of adverbs, but like I just don't care. Like people like always make fun of her way of like making names and
the names are kind of insane. You gotta admit, some of them are kind
Yeah,
of
but
crazy.
the actual story. And,
Oh yeah, totally.
And in my opinion,
Obviously, that's the more important thing. It's just kind of
have
interesting.
you read Lord of the Rings?
I have not. No, I read through a decent chunk of The Hobbit. I need to finish it.
Lord of the Rings is just so much less fun to read. It's so dense and it's just hard to understand.
Maybe for you.
No, not for me.
Yeah, I know you. I know
I
you.
read like books about like geopolitics. That's like bland writing.
I know how to read Lord of the Rings. I love Bill O'Reilly.
A fantasy book shouldn't be that. And you know what? To be fair, I love Lord of the Rings. I love the movies.
I'm sure you are.
I do love the books, but also I just didn't enjoy reading it as much as Harry Potter because it's not user friendly. Like when I read,
it's not as accessible.
I read part of like Game of Thrones. I didn't finish it, but that book is written so well.
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah,
like the first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, people really like those books. Doesn't George R. R. Martin get into so much detail about like every little thing about like the feast and the food was so good, and you can just hear him like his fat belly grumbling like,
oh, God.
Yes, feed me chicken nuggets, feed me steak dinner. But then again, so did Harry Potter. Remember the dude, when you read the first book and you're seeing the magic feast, you're just like,
yeah, she does.
That's
I
beautiful.
That.
Like that's beautiful. Like that's the thing I find really interesting is that. And the other thing I find interesting about that is like you see like the sort of repetition of the day cycle as a student, but you see them, as the books go on from the beginning ones, sort of gloss over it, right? It's like, okay, well the feast's over. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this is now a new normal. Here's something new.
And also like the fact that in the films, at least, I don't remember the movie. I'm sure the books doesn't do this as much, but like they only do the House Cup once.
Oh yeah.
And they never say who wins any of the other ones. And I'm not criticizing it.
I think they touch on in the books more than once.
You need to like.
You have to chop stuff out.
You can't just have it be. You can't just have Harry Potter stay as like the same thing over and over again.
And you also, when you adapt a book to a movie, you really have to be really careful of how you like. You have to cut stuff and you have to make it flow better because when you read a book, it's different. There's a time limit to movies that's more dense. With books, you don't have the luxury of visuals or sound. So you need to add details in words. But with movies, you can show a lot. And you don't have to say as much. Yep. And you can show stuff. What's the term? What's the phrase? A picture is worth 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. You can, if you stage something, if you light something, if you do an expression or something like that, a person can look at the frame and think about something. Like I did this in my first year of like, I was an English major when I started here, and we analyzed films and things like that, and we looked at stuff like framing. It's like one picture you can say so much from one still frame of a film that you'd have to write a bunch for a book. But it's very interesting. They're two very different things. And you know what I'll say about this? I know a lot of people might disagree with me. I'm kind of excited for the TV series, for like the streaming series, because of the fact that they can go really in detail on every little detail if they do it right. Because I think that's why they want to do like, which to me it's weird they're already rebooting the Harry Potter franchise. Like
I don't understand why are they rebooting the Harry Potter franchise?
They need money. It's a money thing.
Okay, but why can't people will watch it if they write a separate story? Like why don't you just talk about Harry's kids?
Yeah, because that's J.K. Rowling. She doesn't want to do that.
But she's still involved in the reboot.
Yeah, but it's her decision over all of those. J.K. Rowling was a very good businesswoman, basically being like, you have to let me do everything for these entire creative control.
Right. It's
threw
like
everything out.
It's like George Lucas.
Yeah, except she came in from the beginning, and unlike George Lucas to an extent on the original trilogy, J.K. Rowling she knew what she was talking about to an extent. She had this all mapped out in her head to an extent. And like she had a vision in her head for every little visual detail. So it's like, I'll give you an example, the Universal world.
Mm-hmm.
Disney originally came to her and she was talking with Disney. Disney wanted to do a small section of Fantasyland and not give her much creative control and not really give her much input on it. So she's like, this sucks. Universal comes in and she's like, all right, you're good, but we're going to make it a whole land. I want full creative control. You cannot serve Coke. You can only serve butterbeer. You want them to speak like this. She had like the eyes, and she's like, I don't need like $1 billion or whatever. And they're like, okay. And you know what? It worked for her. Not every person can do that, but I do wish that she would like. If only Fantastic Beasts was better, man. We could have. The thing is, if the second film didn't do poorly with the critics, and then Johnny Depp's like legal whatever's happened, so they had to recast Grindelwald for the third film, which I actually kind of preferred the third one. Also, there was like and then also the other thing. Also, I also remember like the very small like, oh, that mean I loved you, like with the basically in the third film. You know how Rowling was like Dumbledore's gay, and like we're in like which is no. I'll say this like. What I meant was, she said it on Twitter or something, that people found that out, and I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, that's stupid, that doesn't make any sense. But then she actually touches on it in the, because him and like Grindelwald had some sort of relationship, right? And it was actually,
yeah, they do say that. I haven't seen the movies,
but like they kind of make it explicit to an extent, but it's so subtle. And then of course that's how it is in like these big budget films. It's like Disney, you know what I mean? It's like if you want to have like a Disney film nowadays, like the first gay kiss in a Disney film, but it's like 2 seconds and it's like off. It's not related to the plot at all. Just so if you want to ship it off to China and have it broadcast, they can just immediately cut it out in the editing booth.
Right.
I get it. It's like for money, but it's like, well, if you're gonna make them gay, like make it about it, dude. Like go ham. Like don't be like that's to me that's virtue.
Brokeback Mountain times 1,000.
No, I don't mean literally that. I'm just saying make it like if you want to make a film about that, if you want to make that a character trait, make that important to the plot. Just don't be like, oh yeah, and he like kissed a dude one time and you see it on screen, but the Chinese audience won't see it because we want to make a $250,000,000.
All right, but I have something I want to touch on where you said like full creative control.
Okay, go ahead.
I think relating it to Game of Thrones, for instance.
Sure.
Where after the 4th season,
they kind of just went off on their own because they had nothing else. They had nothing else to do. What do you expect?
And then they actually ran out of source material, like after the 6th season.
Oh yeah.
Or like halfway through the 6th season, and then the show like vastly decreased in quality.
Season 8 was when it really decreased, apparently.
It did really decrease, but in my opinion, even after season 4, the complexity of all the plot lines and like everything that made the show a masterpiece was just brought down. And then after like 6, it went to like down again, and then 7 down again,
and then 8 like 5 billion times down.
And I would say that almost always you need to give creative control to whoever understands the world, like whether it's George Lucas, J.K. Rowling, or George R.R. Martin. Unless you have like a really faithful and talented person like Peter Jackson, who did it obviously after J.R.R. Tolkien was dead.
Yeah.
Then like almost always they just go off in their own direction and do their own thing, and they're not talented enough to actually see it through.
I mean, if George R.R. Martin actually just wrote some more material, they wouldn't have that problem. I feel like they started the show and they were assuming, oh, you know what, he'll probably put out another book at some point so we can continue, and then he didn't.
It's his fault.
Yeah, it is his fault. Why can't he finish the book, man? I don't care. Like, he's gonna die, and
He's just gonna write like random other books in the same universe.
I get it, like he doesn't know how to end it, but it's like, dude, at some point you just have to make a conclusion. Like, you know Half-Life, right? The games?
Vaguely.
Oh yeah, because you never played.
I've never played it, but
dude,
I know
play Half-Life. They're good. They're finally making a Half-Life 3. Like you saying that they did. There's a third Half-Life game with Half-Life Alyx, the VR one. No, they're actually finally making a third game. And you know why? Because they made a small game in the universe that gave them the confidence to say, we can continue the story. And they actually were able to figure out the plot and sort of retcon certain things to make it go forward. Maybe George R.R. Martin could do something like that. Make a small story in the Game of Thrones universe to give him the confidence saying, hey, I can still write this and people like this. Let's just go forward and try to do something. Just give it. But then again, I think he might think that, you know, no conclusion is better than a bad conclusion. And people might agree with that with something like Season 8 of Game of Thrones. I think the amount of interest has died down because of that season.
You know,
isn't the new Game of Thrones series on Amazon? Or is that it? Was that it? Or are you thinking
HBO.
of?
No, it's House of the Dragon. And people like that.
What am I thinking about the Amazon series? There's like another. There's like
The Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, whatever.
That one was a big stinker.
Apparently, people liked the first season. People liked it more. My friends liked it more than they thought they would.
I just like, I didn't watch it, but I watched reviews and like what they did, and it didn't even seem like Lord of the Rings, But House
Yeah.
of the Dragon is like a natural and seamless prequel to
People
the
seem to
world.
really love that one. Like it's getting hella
And
ratings.
it's different than Game of Thrones a lot, but
It's in the same universe and it feels like it's natural.
it feels like it happened, and it feels
Well, of course it happened.
seamless.
Oh, of course it happened. Was that by did George R. R. Martin have anything to do with that?
He's heavily involved. And another reason why he doesn't write his books, he's obsessed with TV.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe he can just maybe he'll just retcon the 8th season of Game of Thrones himself and just like George Lucas it, but make it actually good.
The thing about the 8th season and all the other missteps the show people made, it wasn't that so much the ending was bad, it was that it wasn't properly built up and explained.
Yeah, and it didn't really make sense. Like it didn't feel like you expected it from what I could tell. It's like,
and
why
it was
did this
highly
happen?
rushed.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, yeah, of course they rushed it. They wanted to be done with this stupid show. They probably weren't getting the ratings they needed.
Well, no. That's not it was. It was that Disney offered them to make a Star Wars trilogy, which was eventually taken from them after the explosion of season 8. So they basically wanted to rush Game of Thrones and then go to Star Wars, but
What, to make like 10, 11, 12?
no. It was going to be like a trilogy, like not part of the main. I'm not going to say 9, but let's just say
It's
9
9.
according to Disney.
It's 9. It's one story. Just because you didn't like the movie.
No. I know Star Wars. It's not part of it.
But dude,
It's the Disney trilogy that's like in the same world, but it directly contradicts the first 6.
Contradict my 2 testes. And
Anyway.
I'll say no. The only reason why I'm saying that is
Anyway,
because
it
people
was-
say that about the original trilogy. That's all I'm saying. That's the only real one. I've never seen any of them. That's only the reason
I mean,
I'm
they
saying
can have that opinion.
that. Yeah.
but
okay.
anyway.
And you can have your opinion about.
No, but my opinion is right.
Shut up. I've never seen it, so I can't
And-
comment. RoboCop clears any Star Wars movie.
Oh God.
Borat clears.
Anyway.
Truman Show clears. Freddy Got Fingered clears. They all
It
clear.
was like, Rogue One is like a spin-off.
Oh, they're gonna make like a trilogy of spin-offs,
Yeah.
like separate spin-offs, or like one continuous story.
I believe they wanted to do like a story maybe about the Old Republic, which would be like
Wouldn't
1,000 years before the prequels.
That'd be interesting.
It would be, but
You don't have any confidence though.
0. And
I mean,
know
Disney's
for
basically done
I
of
know
Star
for
Wars.
a fact they will retcon the video games that created the world.
Oh,
because
like the LucasArts games.
yeah, they made it not canon.
Yeah, the Old Republic, and isn't there an MMO as well?
Yeah, the MMO is
People love that one.
it.
Did you ever play Dark Forces? People talk a lot about that one. Star Wars Dark Forces. It's old. It's from the 90s.
Let me see. Hold on.
It's like it's an old first-person shooter. People really like that one. Also, I think. Did you play the latest?
Yeah, this one, no, I never played it, but I do know people love this.
Did you play the latest like Jedi Survivor, or
A bit.
did you play Outlaws? People didn't really like that one apparently.
I did not.
I think Respawn's making another Star Wars. Wait, what do you think about the first Jedi, like Star Wars Jedi Order, whatever it's called, Fallen Order? What? Do you know what I'm talking about? The first like Star Wars. There's Jedi Survivor, but what was the one before that?
Right. I don't remember, but I did play a bit of that, but I didn't finish it. I thought it was decent.
I think Respawn's good at making Star Wars games. I just want them to make another Titanfall game for God's sake. They're never going to.
Well, we
Anyways.
got about 10 minutes. Let's finish on Harry Potter, I'd say.
Oh wow, only 10 minutes. Wait, how long is your show again?
An hour.
We've only been talking for 15 minutes. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, we can go.
No, it's okay. We don't have to go over if you don't want to. I'm saying like I really thought like I'm enjoying the conversation. That's good.
Hey, I have an idea. So
Yes.
in like 10 minutes, we'll finish the one that I air.
If you want to keep going, we can just do that.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Do you mind if if we do that? Do you mind if I use the restroom real quick and like take if you want to keep going?
Yeah, sure, I'll talk.
Yeah, or you can just pause the recording once we're done.
Oh, yeah, I
You
can
could
pause
literally
it.
just pause it on your end. Wait, are you recording on Audition or are you recording on your computer?
I'm recording on my computer.
You should use Audition next time, dude. The quality's better.
Hey,
Just
you
recommend-
told me about this.
Yeah, the USB output's got some noise, some visual noise.
Yeah, it does.
Like all you have to do, and we'll get to the topic. All you have to do is click Audition, export as a WAV file to transfer it to your computer. It's like 5 seconds. You can literally plug a USB cord.
All
Wait,
right, okay, we'll pause
For,
this. He's
no,
gonna use
next
the
time.
bat-
No, next time. Let's keep going.
But I thought you need to use the bathroom.
I meant after our 10 minute after we finish
okay,
10 minutes,
okay,
dude.
Okay, all right, so
Sorry.
yeah, let's get back to Harry Potter.
Yeah, let's get back to Harry
I
Potter.
want to
now.
like specifically go into like, I want to talk about the last 2 Deathly Hallow movies, and I know you haven't seen them.
I have not, but you can talk about
But I really want you to watch 1 through 8, and I would like to hear what you think. I personally
them.
think
One of these days I will. It's a lot of movies.
I think it was a good idea to split it into 2 because that way they essentially in part 1 get like all the
introductory and like
Mhm.
world building stuff out of the way in one
Yeah.
movie that's sort of less exciting. And then the reason part 2 is my favorite is because literally all the payoffs are contained neatly and like beautifully in one film that's actually directed really well. Not as good as number 3, not at
Yeah,
all.
he did. As far as I can tell, he did a good job though.
But all like the things
Mm.
like the redemption arc of Snape, which he's my favorite character for sure.
He's one of my favorites too.
And I
Also,
think,
probably my 100% my favorite actor in the movies.
for sure, yeah. I would say like Snape is
Harry-
like one of the
Harry
best
Potter.
cinematic characters because building him up from number 1 as like this guy that is constantly like presented as a would-be villain, but then the writing always like pulls you back like, no, he's protecting Harry. And then that keeps building and building, and you learn that, oh, he's part of the Order of the Phoenix. Oh, Dumbledore trusts him. And then in number 6,
Spoiler alert!
what happens is basically the whole movie, there's an anxiety over his character because on one hand, you know he's made this vow to protect Draco and, if necessary, kill Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And then Harry directly overhears them, Malfoy and Snape, talking about this, and then goes to Lupin, and then Lupin says like, no, did it ever cross your mind that he's just trying to get information on Malfoy? And Dumbledore trusts Snape, we must trust him. And right before Snape and Dumbledore go to the cave, Harry actually overhears them talking, where Snape is like, I don't want to do this anymore. Did it ever cross your mind that you ask too much, you take too much for granted? And then it sort of like puts you back into the idea that like, oh, Snape is working with Dumbledore. And then the
Yeah.
reveal is the Avada Kedavra. And then it's like
But that was intentional.
everything just, everything, your whole world just collapses and you realize like, oh, Snape's the villain. And then in the Deathly Hallows, you sort of have this beautiful redemption arc and sort of the reason why he's protected Harry over all these years is because of his mother. And it's a really beautiful character.
He did it all for the Nook Healer. He did it all. Oh, I love this woman, but oh, I hate James Potter. He should have been with me. He's just one of those emo like wolf dudes. Like, oh man, she should have been with me and not this stupid loser.
I
I felt like
that's
that's-
true.
What?
I almost feel like he's right.
Okay, yeah, but like you can say that, but you can't control what another person does. And Snape's a weirdo.
No, I think
Snape's
he,
weird, bruh. He's cool, but he's weird. Like, I can see why Lily would go with James, because James is, like, cool and swaggy. But no, it makes sense. I'm only saying, I'm just trolling a little. You know, when, it's funny because I don't recall I don't recall if it's the same in the book, but I remember in the movie, you know, when Snape kills Dumbledore, you know, he's like, Severus, please.
Yeah, that's
But it's like,
what it
does
is.
that, but then you think, like,
The
does it-
double meaning.
yeah, does that mean, like, please don't do it? That's what you think. But no, it means please do it. Wasn't Dumbledore, was it like for some sort of plot reason that Snape killed him, or was it just because he was in so much pain?
No, essentially there's like
Forgot.
a bunch of reasons, but the main reason is when Dumbledore tried to destroy the ring,
Mm-hmm.
he was cursed, and
Yeah, and he's gonna rot.
he
and
was
die.
going to die anyway.
Might as well just get it over with, bro.
So essentially, Dumbledore requests Snape kill him in order to basically gain access to the Death Eaters and like be Voldemort's right-hand man and basically help Harry, like give him the sword of Gryffindor, for instance. And also, Snape was and does try to convince Voldemort that the Elder Wand is working for him. But
When it wasn't, or something
yeah,
like that. Or?
when it wasn't.
Oh right,
But
it was Harry's wand. He's the chosen one.
what they didn't plan for is Draco actually disarms Dumbledore first, so it was never Snape's wand. So it actually
Oh.
kind of worked out.
Interesting. That's fun.
And another function Snape provided was to like reveal to Harry like that he must basically face Voldemort and die in
Mhm.
order for the 8th Horcrux to be destroyed, which was
Both
Harry.
Harry, but then he dies, and then I saw the scene where Harry wakes up and he's in like essentially in the
Mhm.
afterlife, and Dumbledore. You know, it's funny because everybody might think like it's funny when I was like. You who do you think was the better Dumbledore, the first one or Michael Gambon? Obviously, I'm gonna say Michael Gambon overall, just because of like how it goes.
I have a difficult time.
They're very different.
The reason it's also not a fair fight because the first two movies are vastly tonally and
Mhm.
like significantly different first Dumbledore is in much more sweet films.
Yeah, and that's sort of how he takes it. Where he's like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He's literally Santa Claus.
Yes. And I really do like him in those movies, but I do think Michael Gambon, especially when he sort of hit his stride in like the last couple movies.
Yeah, I think he really improved. Like he started going real crazy.
Yeah, Goblet of Fire, he was maybe.
Harry!
Yeah.
How was supposed to name the Goblet of Fire? Like that was so stupid. Like no, explained. That's the thing.
Dumbledore said calmly.
Literally, you've seen that video, of course, where he's like, Harry, did you? That's what I thought. Where it was like that to me was scarier in the book. Where it was like, oh no, he messed up and he's afraid of Dumbledore because Dumbledore's like, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Yeah.
Like you could tell he didn't say calmly yet, like viciously. But what plot direction made Michael Gambon go,
Yeah.
Harry, just put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Like that's not how Dumbledore works, bro.
Right, yeah,
he doesn't play like
That
that.
was way too far. They
And
went
he's like,
too
no,
far.
sir, I never did that.
Yeah, but then, like I said, as he hits his stride, I would say that he got to be like this really good, wise character, and I like in 6 and the last
Yeah, he's
40
more
minutes.
powerful but wise.
Yeah, and like the last 40 minutes of Harry
Half-Blood
Potter and the Half-Blood
Prince.
Prince, he sort of not only becomes this like powerful character, but he also like sort of goes out in the most selfless way.
Yeah,
which
he
is
sacrificed
revealed.
himself on some real stuff.
In the last movie, you revealed how noble his character was.
Yeah, let me say something. I think they color graded the last few movies way too much. I think they're way too dark.
Yes, you are correct.
I'm so sick. I'm so glad that we've sort of moved away from that a little bit.
Yep.
In
Specifically the 6th movie, I will say. Not so much got the last two.
I feel like
Deathly
all I remember
Hallows.
with Deathly Hallows that it all looks super greenish and like washed out.
I don't think the last movie is that. The Half-Blood Prince, you're correct. They overly stylize it, but I will say when they go to the cave, it is somewhat cool.
Yeah, but just like make it look brighter. I don't know,
Yeah.
like brighter. It's like this is what annoys me, and not. It's like this happened with so many big blockbusters in the day, and this
Yeah.
makes sense. It's the early 2010s, but it's like military films and like superhero films and like action films. They all have this like super like blown out like.
You know
Either-
why they do it?
Why do you think they do it?
It's essentially like directors that lack either talent or effort to light a scene properly.
Oh, I guess you can just do it in post.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they do that. But the thing is, the people who do that and like the way, like let's say Marvel movies nowadays, it's different because that's the same issue that they might want to rectify. But the way they grade it is that it's brighter to an extent, but it's more washed out than like super contrasty. Like people said that about the new Captain America film, which I never saw. I didn't see it. I was going to see it, but then the reviews but I never bothered to, and apparently it wasn't that good anyways. Which I was excited. I liked the aesthetic of it. I liked like the potentially political like commentary and like I don't know. I wanted to see the new guy Captain America. I want to see Black in America. What do you want me to say? And Red Hulk too. But apparently it sucked. But like that movie had like brighter colors, but it was like washed out. Like that's the new color grading like shift away.
Yeah.
And I'm mostly saying from video games because what I'm used to. It went from like super dark, like super like sort of just grungy, like I'm gonna say Call of Duty example. Remember how Modern Warfare 2 looked? That game was ugly. I will say I did not like the way that game looked color grading wise. I thought it looked murky and saturated. And then then it's like we'll say like, with the exception of Modern Warfare, it's like oh now it's like realistic and it's like it looks naturally lit, not too like cinematically color graded, not like the Dark Knight or something. But it was like too dark. To like a little bit too, but now it's like they go to bright lighting, like bright but very washed out, like not much contrast. Like the shadows aren't that dark. Everything's a little bit more brightly lit, and that's in this case for the sake of gameplay. But it's like I don't know if you see old Warzone versus new Warzone. Like,
All right.
that's not
Hold
important. You're gonna wrap up the radio part.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. I'm just going to
You're gonna play something or
No. I'm going to tell the folks at home to
Hey.
continue. What?
your microphone. Make
What
sure you're
about it?
speaking. Maybe you're speaking into it. You're speaking away from it.
Okay. I'm going to tell the folks at home to join us on YouTube on their own time. And the way I'm going to do that is I need to figure out what my YouTube channel is even called.
Just go to your YouTube page, see the link, and you'll see the. Wait. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break though for a sec after this.
So, guys, but it's been a good. Here, 1 second.
Bro, I didn't even realize my friend was on this. My friend was at the station from till 12. I should have come earlier so I could say hi to her.
1 second here. All right, so
I didn't realize Isabella was here, bruh. I forgot her show was today. Anyways,
we've had a good show. We talked about
Harry Potter
the best we could when you haven't like seen them all.
Yeah, and it's been a while.
And we talked about a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, it's been a good show. But if you want to continue with us,
However much left we got, how much more we go.
yeah, we're just search up on YouTube Cinéshow, Cineshow, and then KUCI, and I'm the guy with the yellow looking profile pic.
Yeah, Cinéshow and KCI. Do you have an Instagram or something you want to promote?
No.
You should make an Instagram for your show. Let me
I
do my
did.
plug real quick.
Okay.
Promote it. Go to BassTunes KUCI on Instagram for my show. Fridays 4 to 5 p.m. Nima might come on at some point, and Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. for BassTunes After Dark. That's where all the cool music and stuff is. Thank you, Nima, for having me on. We'll see you on YouTube at Cinéshow KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, something like that. Just look it up on YouTube. It'll be there. Thank
All
you,
right.
and goodbye.
All right, guys, we're back, and this is a YouTube-only show, so thanks for joining us. But
YouTube segment real quick.
the way we are going to end this is a pretty good one. We have a quiz here that's the hardest quiz of all time.
Allegedly, yeah.
Supposedly.
The hardest Harry Potter trivia quiz.
And I'm going to be asking Arian, and he's going to be answering. So,
Okay.
in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, what specific ingredient is missing that prevents Hermione from being cured immediately after turning into a cat?
Let me just read them. I can see them. Read them out, actually.
Is it A, boomslang skin, B, mandrake root, C, essence of myrtlap, or D, bicorn horn?
I'm going to say mandrake root, but I don't recall. Try that.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you because mandrake they used to...
Make it.
No, they use mandrake to brew the potion to depetrify people. So I'm going to say essence of myrtlap. Let's see who's right.
Oh, I was right. Holy
Oh,
shit.
you're right.
I can curse, right? We're on YouTube.
Hermione's cure is delayed because the mandrakes... Wait, what? What does that have to be turning into a cat? Okay, whatever. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, what does Hagrid pull out of his coat to start the fire? And this is easy.
It's an umbrella.
Yeah.
He has that because he can't have magic.
Yeah.
So he can't have a wand. He broke his wand.
In Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, what color sparks does Harry send up to signal he found a unconscious Fleur Delacour in the maze? Red, yellow, green, or blue?
I'll say yellow.
It's red.
You're right.
In Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, who is the first character to raise their wand after Dumbledore's death to honor him? Harry, Hagrid, McGonagall, Hermione.
Well, Hagrid doesn't have a wand. I'm going to say McGonagall.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
In Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which magical creature does Luna Lovegood mention that Harry and his friends don't believe exist? A crumplehorn Snorlax, Thestrals, Nargles, or Heliopaths? So, which magical creature does Harry and his friends not believe exists?
Feels like all of them. You know, I'm going to give my reasoning for, I think it's either A or B. I remember the Thestrals they didn't believe existed, but Harry saw them.
Does.
Harry sees them, but I don't think he knew what they were. But I'm going to go with A just because I remember the Quibbler and that whole book. But if it's B, then I can see why that is. Just go. I'm voting A.
I personally think it's C.
Nargles?
Yeah.
Let's try it. I was right. Okay, cool.
Oh, it's A. So what is a crumplehorn? Oh, her father's looking for it.
Yeah, it's for that stupid book, The Quibbler.
Okay. In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, what spell does McGonagall use to bring the statues to life? Oh, this one's unforgettable. Patego Maxima, Expelliarmus, Pier Totem Locomotor, or Wingardium Leviosa. That's kind of obvious.
I think it's Pier Totem Locomotor because it means movement, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
True or false? In the Goblet of Fire, the audience can hear the mermaids sing during the second task.
True. They can hear something. No? Okay. Wait, why? What is that?
While the mermaids sing to lure Harry and the champions underwater in the books, the film doesn't include their song.
Oh, in the film?
That's what I thought.
Oh, I don't remember the film.
Yeah, the film is like weird sounds you hear, but it's not music. So, in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, what color is Tonk's hair when she appears on screen for the first time?
I think it's pink.
Pink, blue, purple, or red? It's not red. It's not blue. It's either pink or purple. I'm gonna go pink.
Yep.
In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, who was the last person to duel Voldemort before Harry in the Battle of Hogwarts? McGonagall, Hermione Granger, Neville Longbottom, Bellatrix Lestrange. So it's not Bellatrix, obviously.
I'm gonna say McGonagall. I don't know though. Or maybe it's.
What does it mean, duel? Because
I don't know. I didn't see the battle.
Neville pulls out the sword. Yeah, I think it's Neville.
Try Neville.
Yeah.
Try it. Oh, you're right. Sweet.
It wasn't much of a duel. I mean, Voldemort puts his one spell on him, I think. Which real-life family member of Tom Felton appeared in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince? Okay.
Bless you.
Thanks.
I don't know this one. I'm gonna let you make a guess.
His brother as a Death Eater.
It's father. It says.
Oh, his father as a Death Eater. His mother as Narcissa Malfoy's double. His brother as a Hogwarts student. His cousin as young Draco in flashbacks. I believe it's his brother as a Hogwarts student. I think I saw that on a reel.
Yep.
Yep. He's a background character.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
All right. So you have to go?
Let me see. Yeah, I should get going in a little bit. I mean, if you want to do one more quiz or anything.
Sure, we can do another quiz.
Find one more quiz, yeah.
Yeah. That one wasn't actually that good, I don't think. Okay. What is the name of the book Hermione supposes Voldemort used to learn about Horcruxes? Magic Most Evil, Secrets of the Darkest Art, A Guide to Medieval Sorcery, or Most Potent Potions? I do not remember this. This is from the book only. This is not in the movie.
Well, I remember her. Oh no, Ginny was in the book. Wait, suppose Voldemort used. Magic Most Evil.
That's what I think it is as well. Oh, I don't think it tells you till the end.
What is the Hufflepuff house ghost?
Hubert Binns, Sir Patrick Delaney Podmore. That sounds really familiar. The Fat Friar, the Grey Lady. I think it's the Fat Friar, no?
Yeah.
Which creatures pull the carriages? Oh, we just talked about this.
Yeah, it's
That
Thestrals.
take students, yeah. So, Thestrals. In the order they taught, who were the 6 defense against of the dark arts teachers who taught Harry at Hogwarts? This is pretty easy. So it goes Quirrell, Lockhart, Lupin, Professor Moody, Umbridge, and then Snape.
Yes. Umbridge, I hate her. Where is the Slytherin common room located?
Next to the kitchens in the West Tower and the dungeons below the Great Hall.
I'm thinking below the Great Hall, maybe. I don't know though, or the dungeons.
This sounds familiar to me,
You
but
go.
it can't be in the dungeons.
It's not in the towers, or maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't think it is. We'll say below the Great Hall, I guess.
Sure.
How many staircases does Hogwarts has?
I don't know. This is a stupid number.
142, 143, 163, 152. I'm
One
going to say
fif-
43.
Okay, go with that. I think 152, but I don't know. Try again. Oh, there's only you get 3 attempts. That's stupid. You get 3 retries. If you get 3 wrong answers, you lose.
Oh, bruh.
This is stupid.
Okay, forget this.
All right, well, let's just wrap.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up here.
I need to change my shirt anyways. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into this very short addendum because I need to chill out. Again, Bass Tunes KCI on Instagram. Go tune into Cinéshow every day. Tuesdays, 8 to 9 a.m., right?
Mm-hmm.
Pacific time. Tune into my shows. Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And Sunday at 2 to 4 a.m. for my music show. Thank you, Nima, for having me on. Hopefully, we'll bring you on Base Tunes sometime soon if there's something that I could use you on. And, we'll have some fun. So
Would you be willing to do a movie review on your?
Yes, but I picked the movie, and it's going to be a trippy one.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you ever see You saw Total Recall, right?
Yeah, I saw it. I don't know if I'm going to talk about that one, but I'll have to think. If Xavier Renegade Angel had a movie, I would watch it with you. I would maybe I'll bring you on to discuss that show. It's on YouTube for free.
Never heard of that.
It's on Adult Swim. It's very trippy and pretty offensive. You might like it. There's a joke where they go to an Indian burial ground and then make like blood soldiers. So in order to stop the Indian burial ground, they go to a cowboy burial ground, but the cowboy burial ground is tainted with Arab blood. So they pop up and they turn into jihadists.
That's funny. Do you know my house in Minnesota was built on an Indian burial?
They probably shouldn't have done that. That's not good.
And that's why I have powers.
You don't have powers.
Don't I?
No, you don't. You have the power to be
If I snap my fingers, you'll forget you were ever gay.
I was never gay in the first place.
Exactly.
I think you're gay.
Look at that. I just destroyed you. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, see you.